political prisoners. Right on to the people's photographer and videographer, who's there all day and all night, whenever we need him.
Never sleeps.
Never sleeps, like the cops. You missed the scene. We had about 6 or 7 cops here already waiting. They had seen our email that we sent out at 1 o'clock in the morning. They sent that to us. And they disappeared when they saw you there.
When they saw the camera.
Yeah, they don't see the camera. They have a few cars here. Check this out. Take pictures of them. Maybe John.
We're here in solidarity with Mumia Abu-Jamal and to stand up to the capitalist lies of the Wall Street Journal and demand justice and equal space to present our side of the argument why this great freedom fighter should be free.
This is a group from several different organizations that are working in solidarity with Mumia, and in the last few weeks, under the leadership of the Fraternal Order of Police, there's been this campaign against Debo Adegbile, who's been nominated by Obama for Assistant Attorney General of the United States, and he would be heading the Civil Rights Division, which is a very important division. It has jurisdiction over police all over the country and civil rights cases during the Robert Kennedy era. That's how the civil rights, a lot of the U.S. civil rights work was done under that division. So his nomination is being contested. Adegbile was on the staff and was acting president for a while of the national NAACP Legal Defense Fund, which took on Mumia's case in the year 2000 to fight Mumia's death sentence, and won. That's how Mumia got off death. I mean, not through just their work, but legally, they're the ones who got him off death row. Of course, we were in the streets and doing everything we do that makes all the difference in the world, but they were the legal people in the courtroom. So what this campaign is about is that this guy should not be Assistant Attorney General because he defended a cop killer. And because they go on and on and on about Mumia.
Who takes that position? The Wall Street Journal?
The Fraternal Order of Police, Fox News, the District Attorney, of course, of Philadelphia, the right-wing politicians in Pennsylvania, the current governor of Pennsylvania and the former governor of Pennsylvania, both of whom wanted to execute Mumia, and they're all screaming and yelling because Mumia didn't get executed. That's what they say. He should have. That these were tricks to keep him from being
ugly. Wow.
Really ugly stuff.
What kind of language do they use?
I can give you the language they use is that he's a cold-blooded cop killer, and that they give all the stories, all the that whole prosecution's version that's been totally discredited. That 3 people said that Mumia confessed to the crime. In fact, those 3 people didn't speak up till months later. They said, oh, they forgot, they were so traumatized. They gave different excuses for why they never reported.
Contradicted by the doctor who was present.
Exactly, you know the case. They were contradicted by Dr. Coletta, who was with him all the time, and who said he never said a word. They have, well, we know, of course, that the tests, the ballistics tests that were done on the street, you know, if you shot down, you know, as they claim Mumia did over the cop, you'd have marks on the sidewalk. There's no marks on the sidewalk. We know that the cops did not totally violated the procedures you're supposed to follow to make sure you secure a place and you can get the fingerprints later on. The cop is seen, the lead cop is seen holding the gun with his bare hands on the photographs that were discovered a few years ago, that were available since 1981, but the police knew about them, but they were not presented.
What's the language they use against the nominee?
Against the nominee, they say that he supports a cop killer, that he is not.
Use that kind of language?
Yes, he's an advocate. He's an advocate of a cop killer. That's the word they use. And then they say that he Though he has good, Fox News made fun of him, was really completely racist, said he had been a child actor, and Fox News kept saying, oh, how could he be with some qualification, a child actor on Sesame Street? Fact is, he's been supported by the large majority of legal organizations, even conservative organizations are supporting him. He's very qualified, he's litigated voting rights for the NAACP, that's his specialty. Voting rights.
You could say fair and balanced. How about the other side of the story?
That's exactly what we're saying. We're saying, look, we're not, you publish this garbage, okay, but we have the other point of view, which is supported by a lot of people. If you believe in the First Amendment, in journalism, whatever, we have to
mention fair and balanced.
Exactly. So that's our theme. It's not a demonstration. The cops, listen to this. The cops just came over and told us that, oh, you're here for a demonstration? I said, how'd you know? His name too. He says, oh, we read your email. We sent out our email at 1 o'clock in the morning, and they just acknowledged that they read that email. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not shocking, but they say it. And so I said, well, you mean you stayed up all night reading our emails? He said, we have an intelligence division that does that.
It would be fun to get some interviewing with you and the cops to convince them that he's the story.
Maybe we can get that when we come out. Maybe we'll get.
So
he's standing.
If Mumia really were a cop killer, that's one story. But
right. So it's interesting. You learn. First of all, our philosophy has been the reason the Mumia movement is so strong is we're always on the move, literally.
Did you contribute, or you don't have to contribute DVDs? It's online, or we could give them DVDs to watch in the police houses.
Right, exactly. The films.
You're victims of lies, folks,
right. I think that's a good idea.
How about waking up, guys?
I think that's a good idea. The camera.
Would you say that a organization claiming to be fair and balanced should include both points of view?
Absolutely. It's the right thing to do. You can't have too little information, particularly about a case like this, Mumia Abu-Jamal's case, which is fraught with so many lies and distortions. And the man really should be out because we know he didn't do it. There was a fourth person on the scene, and that was never identified in the trial. That never came out. Mumia's hands, his hands never proved the gun. There was no gunpowder residue on his hands. So how can a man who shot somebody not have gunpowder residue on his hands? And thirdly, and most importantly, he's a journalist. I never heard of a journalist committing such a vile crime. And that's just the long and short of it. They should provide two sides to the story. That's okay, you're here now.
Is that he's the very opposite of a cop killer.
Absolutely.
He went to help a cop.
Right.
And he gets shot.
And he gets,
Okay, let's go. Lasswell. Mark Lasswell.
So they won't...
Let's go, folks. Here they come blocking the door.
Hi. How you doing? How can I help you today? Nice to meet you. I'm the representative for the building.
Well, you know, because the police just told us that they've seen our emails, everybody else.
Okay.
That we're here to talk to the Western Journal and have a letter to deliver to them.
I can help you with that?
But we'd like to see somebody. We'd like to see Mr. Lasswell.
I can't help you with that, and that's not going to be allowed. What I can, well, you're not a visitor, you're not authorized visitor. But what I can do is help you deliver your letter, and I'll take you right over to where the Messenger Center is.
Yeah, but I know, I've had experience with Messenger Centers.
That's the only way to deliver a letter.
Well, maybe he can come downstairs and speak.
No, they will not come down. No one's going to come down unless you're an authorized visitor.
Well, what does it take to be an authorized visitor?
Someone from the company would have to put you in the visitor system.
Okay. Could you speak to them? There's a small group of us. All we want to do is ask.
We have
No. We know how it works. We've delivered letters before. We know that in these mailrooms, they can just throw the stuff out and it'll never get to them. And they won't take it seriously. We're serious. We want this letter published. And we would like to see someone who at least is accountable to make a decision or to let us know about a decision. We don't want to give, we could have mailed it. We didn't have to be here in the freezing cold. and you can dress very well.
I know, it's quite discerning.
Well, I hope we can too. And what would make, there's a huge entourage behind you.
Well, this is, secure building your own private property. We are here to help you with your letter, but there's only one way to do it, and that's the way I described to you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
New York City. I'm a little taken aback that you have an entourage and an army of people to greet us here. I mean,
No, I'm
I am
you.
a servant. We are servants.
No entourage here.
I mean,
No,
it
this
looks
is
like
an
an entourage.
entourage.
And look at the police behind you.
Okay, well.
I am a servant, a public servant of the city, and I am here because the press has a responsibility to actually offer a balanced account of the most important issues of our time. One of the most important issues of our time is the issue of mass incarceration. And your newspaper,
He's not from the Wall Street Journal.
you're not from the Wall
just
Street
from the
Journal.
building.
So I understand that. We only want to see someone in the Wall Street Journal, and
Well, you can
I've
make an
been in
appointment.
this building for-
You have,
Can we
you have
do
to
that?
be
Can we make
if you're-
an appointment? Well,
if you're an
we make
authorized visitor, you have
Can we
to.
make an appointment where, with all these people here,
Right.
with all of us having come down, there's a lot of people's time and energy already been used
I
today
understand.
for this. We would like to get something out of this country. So if you would like to, why don't you call the Wall Street Journal?
No, they're not going to come down.
No, listen to me, okay? And would you please stop smiling as though we're doing something funny? It's very disrespectful.
Smile all I want.
You have every right to smile. I'm just asking you not to because it's very disrespectful. Okay, you go ahead and be disrespectful. So our request is, could the Wall Street Journal, in particular Mr. Lasswell, could you call him and say we'd like to make an appointment? If you want us to come, if he wants us to come back, we'll come back. We're serious. We're not playing. We want an article published in the Wall Street Journal to answer the lies that we put forward. All we want to do is put out that information.
You
We're not
mentioned
asking.
Mr. Laszlo.
Yes.
So
His
if you
name
call
is
his office, you
Mr.
can,
Lasswell.
you can
But
reach
we don't
his-
want to leave. Could you
and
call?
they can set an appointment with you, and you can
Could
meet
you
at
do
a
that?
mutually agreeable time.
Could you do that for us right here?
No, we
We
cannot.
have a group here, and we would like to get some feedback from the Wall Street Journal about the seriousness of our demand for equal space in their newspaper.
I understand there's a time and place and a way to do it, and this is not the way you can do
Well,
it.
we've had a lot of experience with the time and place and the way to do things, and often the way they say we should do things doesn't work. So, my experience is when you deliver letters to a mail they throw it out.
But that's
Nobody-
the only option you have today.
Could you call him right now?
Reconsider, maybe talk to your bosses,
No one to
talk to the Wall Street Journal, see if they would consider setting up an appointment with us.
I'm sorry, I already know the answer. The answer is, the only thing you can do today is I can help you, I can assist you in getting your
But
letter
we're not going to
delivered.
walk around the corner.
But that's your only option.
But we're trying to figure out what is so illegal or inappropriate about a group of people, concerned residents of New York City,
Nothing's wrong with
coming
that.
into
But you're on private
a
property.
space.
You're not a visitor, and only authorized visitors are allowed in a
Yeah, but it seems like a very
private
firm
property.
newspaper that's supposed to serve the people. At least
This is
if they're
common
safe.
security at every building in down 6 hours. Private property, authorized
We all have IDs.
See that we're not very threatening. We're not very threatening.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not a
we're not
question of
coming in a threat.
having
But,
IDs, it's a question of whether you're an authorized visitor or not.
But the question is, the more fundamental question is not whether you're authorized visitor. The question is, how does news get out fairly to the people of New York City, the people of this country, and the people of the world? The Wall Street Journal is failing its job when it puts out one side, a very distorted side.
I understand.
That
I'm
is
not
the
the person
issue.
to speak to about that.
I know. That's what we want to speak to them.
I know, but this isn't the way you go about it. It's not the way you're going to have success going about it.
Well, I don't believe that the way you're proposing would work.
That's the only option you have.
So they don't want to meet. That's the truth. That's
like I
the
said,
truth.
I'm not here to answer.
So that's my guess. That if they make
This is standard procedures. It's the only procedure. Anything else is the same response.
There's
like 16 people
No,
watching.
I just want to know how much of our taxes get spent for this.
After you leave, they'll be right back out on the street
16
somewhere
people
else.
came out when you walked.
They weren't all
I
cops. They weren't all cops, but
They weren't
I mean,
all cops.
no. Listen, you knew they weren't gonna let you. All right, you knew you have to make an
It's nice
appointment.
talking to you.
So,
No.
good
I
talking
was
to you,
in there
sir. Thank you.
earlier.
No,
So
she
if
got
you
in.
if you make an appointment, they'll let you in, like the guy said. So it's up
No,
to you.
that's
What
not what he
you
said.
want to do. What do you say?
He said we can deliver a letter around the corner, but there's no guarantee that'll get to them. Letters in mailrooms get thrown out.
Why
Yeah,
would
we've gone to the United States government. I know. So that
I got a suggestion. He said the appropriate way is to call for an appointment.
And who?
Call him up and ask him right now.
Let's call them right now. Right, let's call them. Yeah. Let's get Wall Street.
Oh, yeah.
Is that today's paper?
We want the phone number.
That guy.
What's his name? He said, but I didn't catch it.
No, the editor.
Lasswell. I want to do it the right way. I changed my mind. I've been won over.
Part of that article.
Yeah, it was written by the District Attorney of Philadelphia.
Why don't you do it this way? Why don't you? And call them and make it.
How we know? We already know.
No, I know. We'll do it for sometime next week.
No, we want to do it while we're here.
I mean, this is burning news. This can't wait till next week.
You can invite him to come down.
This officer was assigned to this,
guys
and
should do that. But
based on our email, which they saw from last night.
Oh,
They
really?
saw
How
our
do you
email.
know?
He told me.
Oh,
Officer Dugan, very nice guy.
Thank you.
I
Wait,
think
but how
we could
how
really
did they
share
know we
a
were
lot of our
coming?
information.
I have a general number that's general number.
No, the editor. Mr. Lasswell's number.
Here he comes.
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna have to go on the website. That's what they're telling me. So the Wall Street Journal people.
They just said
Oh,
the
the Wall
other
Street Journal
guy.
they don't want to get a number?
They have a number. It's on their papers. You know, the paper. They have a
He's
general.
gotta
We
look
want
it
the
up.
editorial guy.
Street Journal.
Lasswell.
Lasswell, yeah, but we can't even get there. Let's get the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, we need the number.
Yeah, we need the Wall Street Journal.
Ma'am, it's 1-800-JOURNAL.
For this office here?
Yes.
No, Lasswell.
1-800-JOURNAL.
It's online. It came up the same.
Yes, and then they'll, I guess, switch bed, switchboard, whatever it is, and then
Thank you very much. No problem. You served.
Thank you.
You served. So, your phone went out.
Yes, we need the operator. I have a letter, published, an opinion letter, in response to the Pat Toomey, Seth Williams letter that was published about Mumia Abu-Jamal, and I'm trying to deliver it
To Lasswell, Mr. Mark Lasswell.
to Mark Lasswell. Mark Lasswell?
He's the editorial features.
Yeah. Thank you.
You might want to identify yourself.
.L. TRS at WSJ.com.
TRS.
LTRS at WSJ.com. Thank you. And the delivery address is 1211 Avenue of the Americas,
We're right here.
New York, New York. 10026. Okay, we're actually at that address right now, and we're attempting to enter the building, but we can't get in the building. They won't let us deliver our letter.
Can someone come down?
Can someone come down, or can you put us on the list to get inside? Okay. You're in upstate New York. That's an odd place to be.
It's really cold up there.
So that's an odd place to be.
How do we get to speak to them?
How can we speak to somebody inside the actual building? Do you have a...
So you surely know.
And they didn't like okay.
And everybody saw it.
The case of, yeah.
Okay.
Something that I've wanted to tell police officers from Philadelphia
Okay.
is that
so
justice for Officer Daniel
is there another
Faulkner
directory
is that we find out who exactly killed him. But the Fraternal Order of Police is committed to this campaign of lies and hysteria that has actually kept the truth in this case from coming out. So I want to talk to you because I have your attention and your ear and your consent by the police department. One of the most important things about this case is that there was a fourth person at the scene of the crime who was seen running away. And he was identified as the shooter. Who
identified him as shooter?
Oh, let me tell that part. This is my favorite part of the story. The guy goes to the police station. He said, I'm the witness. They say, write out what you saw. 2 pages longhand.
Right.
They crumple it up, say, no good, try it again. They do that 5 times, and then they say, now we'll tell you what to write.
There's another, yeah, that's really...
So, I mean, the police department brought Kenneth Freeman into their offices and actually interviewed him about what happened that night. But they let him go. And then the prosecutor and the judge suppressed the presence of this fourth person at the scene of the crime.
She's upstate.
And someone who was wearing exactly what he was wearing was identified as a shooter. Okay, we're gonna go.
He was really listening.
We're on private property. This is a private building. Okay. They have rules. I don't make up the rules. They have their own rules. Ever since 9/11, these buildings have gotten more and more secure. Okay.
Right.
Everyone has to have an appointment to get in. You got to show ID to get in. You have to have a tag to get in. You go up to the floor. You show ID when you get up to the floor. Okay. You don't have an appointment. And I'm just speaking from the police department. You don't have an appointment to go see the Wall Street Journal guy. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is you can't just, they're not going to let you walk in there and say, oh, go ahead, go see it now. This is after 9/11.
Yeah, but listen, listen. The Wall Street Journal, private property is a funny word. And one of the things the police department is trained to do in this country is its main job is almost to protect private property.
No,
so that's another.
You're making a general statement. You can't do that.
Yes,
that wasn't the case.
Based
Why
on
would
history.
you be standing here?
You're standing here defending private
No,
property.
I'm standing here defending your right and their right.
But let me go back.
There's rights for everybody. Go ahead.
There's an issue.
You want to walk and talk?
Yeah.
Okay, let's walk and talk.
There's an issue here that we keep raising.
Go ahead.
When you have media, it's very, very powerful and very important. When you have a newspaper that is circulated all over the world and has a certain respectability, even though I don't think anything
We're talking about the Wall Street Journal now, right?
Even though I don't think anything Murdoch publishes should have any respectability, but it does.
Right.
They have a certain responsibility to be more accessible. We can't even get a phone number for them. They don't even send anybody that. Let's forget all these other things, but we're here to reach an important media tool that influences corporations, influences, all kinds of business.
Yeah, but hold on. Let me just. I know you're again. If you went to MSNBC, or if you went to NBC, the same thing. So you just can't say. You just can't say Fox.
No. I say the same thing about all the media.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not distinguishing between. I mean, Wall Street Journal is a little worse, but we were here demonstrating for Fox News a few weeks ago.
Okay. Let me.
So Fox News didn't come down to meet with us.
Right. Let's go back to the suppressive part. All right.
Okay.
Like you said before. Okay. You're saying the police department's job is to suppress you. Is that what you're telling me?
No.
Suppress you?
I didn't say that.
That's what you said.
No. I'm not that simple-minded.
Okay.
So let me go back.
Go back.
The police department's role in society is a suppressive one.
Why do you say that?
The role. Why?
Yeah. Let's talk about a recent example.
You look at the number of people arrested, the whole history of stop and frisk.
Right.
the police.
I knew that was going to come up. So,
yeah, so you know that stop
right.
and frisk was something that was implemented by those who run the city. I mean, it wasn't the police that decided on its own to do that.
Right.
And they went to the police to implement this policy. The police implements the policy that the people control the city. Bloomberg wanted to shut down Occupy Wall Street.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Bloomberg didn't want to shut down Occupy Wall Street. So don't say that.
Bloomberg had meetings along with other powerful people around all over the country that had to end Occupy Wall Street and keep it from spreading. Bloomberg wanted it to stop. When he wanted to stop, all he had to do is call the police commission and say, "Hey, buddies."
Occupy Wall Street was there for a year. You were down there for a year. We didn't stop him. We didn't try to stop him.
We have another example. We have another example here, and I have one.
And then okay, go ahead.
Let's keep walking.
So the
before he freezes to death.
CUNY student protests at the Graduate Center against the appointment of General David Petraeus.
Right.
Six CUNY students were violently suppressed and attacked by the New York Police Department and then subsequently arrested regarding a peaceful protest. How do you respond to that?
All right, hold on. I wasn't there, so I'm not going to respond because I wasn't there.
Okay.
But if there's a peaceful protest, we allow it to go on. We don't stop it.
Right.
Okay, so everyone talks about the police department, how we're bad people. All right, your First Amendment right is to do whatever you want to do. We give you the First Amendment right. You want to be out here 24 hours a day and say what you have to say. That's fine. There's rules with sound permits. There's rules with the whistles. There's rules with everything else. But having said that, if you guys try and go into a building, a private property building, I don't know what happened down in Baruch. I don't know what happened. Okay, if you guys try and go in there.
Who's at the graduate?
Where's the graduate center? Hold on a second. Hold on. I got 4 different questions going on once. Where's the graduate center?
Do you know the address of the graduate center? It's Midtown.
It's on 34th Street and 5th Avenue.
Now, did you guys try and go in there? I don't understand.
No, it was an external protest. It was
but you know what?
Listen, if it was an external protest, we didn't try and close it down. We didn't try and shut it down. Definitely not. Definitely not.
I think there's video evidence. There's video evidence.
Well, okay,
You penned it in, but also cops actually beat up some of these students, and it's been caught.
I don't believe that.
It's been caught on video. It's on YouTube.
Listen,
it's on video.
Hold on. I'm going to defend the police department. We don't go around and beat people up for no reason. All right, we don't do that.
These were students.
I understand.
These are students. My students.
There's some students that are 6'10" and 275 pounds that could probably kill me. Okay, so you can't say because they're students. Students don't have anything to do with it.
You know, they have a right to actually protest policies in their school that's anti-student.
Absolutely.
And they were
right over here. Right over. Absolutely have a right to defend. Absolutely. We're not saying they're not allowed to do that.
This issue of the police job being to protect private property is an important
right there, ma'am. Ma'am, right there.
Which one?
111. Messenger center.
So what do we do here? Can we go in?
You go in and you drop off the letter.
Okay, so let's go in. Drop off the letter. So we can go in and drop the letter.
Joe, make sure you get my good side, all right?
What's your name, my brother?
Mike Duke.
We're here to try to deliver a very important letter to the Wall Street Journal. And they're not very accessible, as you can see. This is the closest we've gotten to anybody who's right here. You don't have a way to call them and find out. That's it. How soon does it get delivered? Yeah, sure. Maybe we can wait for a response for them. If we send a letter up with you, could we possibly get a response asking to meet with them? What? Okay, but could you possibly bring back a message from them?
I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll try. Could you
What about trying to
them?
make an appointment?
We're trying to make an appointment to meet with Mr. Lasswell. And this is to go to Mr. Lasswell. Let me give you, write it down so you have the exact. I should read it to everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, while we're here, no, people haven't seen it, right? This is the letter to Mr. Lasswell. Dear Editorial Features Editor Mark Lasswell, on Tuesday, February 25th, 2014, you published in your opinion section a letter titled The Justice Nominee and the Cop Killer. Now that's Debo Adegbile. that we thought that was inflammatory. It misrepresented the facts of Debo Adegbile's affiliation with the case of Mumia Abu-Jamal and distorted the facts of the world-renowned case. In the interest of achieving a balanced coverage of the important debate surrounding Debo Adegbile's nomination to head the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice, we hope that you will publish the attached opinion piece, which was emailed to you yesterday. This was last night, and we emailed it.
So you emailed them this letter last night?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's how you saw it. Your people saw it.
Okay. Okay.
Somebody who stayed up all
That's
night
fine.
reading it. It meets your credit. By the way, everybody should be aware of that level of surveillance, that our letter was read and known about before this morning. It meets, sincerely signed by about 11 organizations, both in the United States and in Europe.
Okay.
So then comes the letter. And Johan and I will both read it, or maybe each person can read a paragraph. I'll start. We'll read it.
Are you an educator?
How long is this?
I have some experience as an educator.
Okay.
So it shows, right? It shows.
How long is this letter?
It's not very long.
No,
it's not very long, but it's a very important letter.
And it's very important for you to hear it. 2 pages.
Did the group get to read it already?
No.
We sent it to everybody, but not
we want-
everybody
we
was late
just
enough.
about-
Okay, let me just say, you can read the letter. I don't care, but I can't stand here and
You
listen
can't?
to you read the letter.
Oh, you
But I
can't?
mean, they got work to do. So if you're gonna did you deliver the letter already?
We will, but we really would like you to hear
Okay,
it.
I'll listen then.
Okay, so
You
we'll
got it.
take turns reading paragraph. I'll start the
Okay.
first one. President Barack Obama's nomination of Debo Adegbile to head the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice has ignited a campaign of opposition led by the Fraternal Order of Police and allied officials, among them U.S. Republican Senator Pat Toomey and former Pennsylvania Governor Tom Ridge. Although they acknowledge Adegbile's impressive credentials, they cite his associations with the defense of world-renowned imprisoned journalist Mumia Abu-Jamal as grounds for his disqualification as Assistant Attorney General. Next paragraph.
This group's consistent misrepresentation of Adegbile's connection with the case of Abu-Jamal and its gross distortions of the fact of the Abu-Jamal case to discredit the nominee raise serious doubts about the legitimacy, motivation, and ethical character of its objectives. In letters written to the president, this is what's incredible, that there were a series of letters written to the president and to national news outlets by the FOP and its lobbyists. Adegbile is depicted as one of Abu-Jamal's lead attorneys. In fact, the respected civil rights litigators of Brown versus Board of Education, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, took the case in 2010 under the leadership of its late president, John Payton, who decided for LDF to represent Abu-Jamal after visiting him in prison. Adegbile was peripheral to the case, but neither he nor the LDF should be castigated for fulfilling their duty to the Constitution by defending a client with strong claims of racial bias at trial.
It's a good class.
In addition, Adegbile's opponents have launched a relentless demonization of Abu-Jamal, echoing rhetoric of the FOP, using inflammatory terms like, quote, notorious cop killer, extremist, and thug to describe Abu-Jamal. They seek to paint a distorted picture of what they claim is an open and shut case in which Abu-Jamal, allegedly motivated by radical political beliefs, killed Philadelphia police officer Daniel Faulkner in cold blood. Yet, at the time of his 1981 arrest, Abu-Jamal was a dedicated father and recognized leader in Philadelphia and its black community. He was also a rising journalist who had just won Columbia University's coveted Edward Howard Armstrong Prize in Broadcasting for his report on Pope John Paul's visit to Philadelphia.
That's an impressive.
Yeah, sounds impressive.
Award.
Did you know that about him? Yeah, you've known about Abu-Jamal, right? Hasn't he always been presented to you as just a cold-blooded cop killer? There's another story. That's the story we're trying to tell. Same to you, right, officer? You've never heard what we're reading to you now.
As the long history of black criminalization in the U.S. demonstrates, just because a black person is convicted doesn't mean that person is guilty. Ask the Innocence Project at the Benjamin N. Cardozo School of Law at Yeshiva University.
Actually, I think that's a really important statement. Can
read it
you
again.
say that again?
Read it again.
As the long history of black criminalization in the U.S. demonstrates,
Move this way so they can get the deliveries.
Just because a black person is convicted doesn't mean that person is guilty. Ask the Innocence Project at the Benjamin N. Cardozo School of Law at Yeshiva University.
You all know about the Cardozo Center, the Innocence Project, right? You know about the Innocence Project? The Innocence Project has shown that a lot of people have been convicted who are in fact innocent. They use DNA evidence a lot.
Right.
But that's a very important, so in other words, what she just read was that not everybody who's arrested is guilty, obviously,
Right.
nor even those who are convicted.
Right.
Which means that our court system has failed a huge number of people, a disproportionate number of whom are black. So the question that one of our lawyers always asks us, if you had to go to court, would you want to walk in as a white man or a black man?
You wouldn't want to walk in as a black man, even if you were proud of being black. That's not something you'd want to do in a court because you know your chances of conviction are much higher.
Even if you're innocent?
Right, even if you're innocent.
As with so many other defendants, Abu-Jamal was not tried by a jury of his peers. Police officers tampered with evidence, and the prosecution suppressed exculpatory evidence. Perhaps the most important and least known fact in the Abu-Jamal case is that a fourth person was present at the crime scene and was seen fleeing by 4 witnesses. His presence was concealed at trial by the prosecutor, Joe McGill, and by presiding judge, Albert Sable.
Okay.
Is this a letter you want to deliver?
Yes.
So you want to give it to them and let them deliver it?
Yet, as proof of Mumia Abu-Jamal's malice and guilt, the FOP and its allies also cite the perjured testimony of 3 witnesses who allegedly heard him confess to the shooting while he lay in a semi-conscious state with a gunshot wound in the hospital. But in a period when the police were well known for bribing witnesses and tampering with evidence to obtain convictions, these statements lack credibility, especially because for witnesses who made these allegations fully 60 days after the confession was allegedly the witnesses made these allegations fully 60 days after the confession was alleged to have been made. More credible was the testimony of Dr. Anthony Coletta, who was with Abu-Jamal from the time he entered the emergency room. Dr. Coletta is on the record stating first that he did not hear any confession, even though he was within earshot of Abu-Jamal from the moment the latter was brought in to the hospital, and second, that the trauma produced by by Abu-Jamal's wound made it medically impossible for him to speak. A publicly available police report written by the officer assigned to guard Abu-Jamal, Gary Lasswell, states that, quote, the Negro male made no comment.
That's the kicker. That the police department itself and its officer who presided over Abu-Jamal as soon as he got into the hospital said in his report, the Negro male made no comment. But 60 days later, 3 witnesses were coerced by the cops to actually say, oh, I forgot what I heard 60 days ago, but I actually did recall that he said, quote, I shot the motherfucker and I hope he dies.
And they were cops, those 3 witnesses.
And they were, I mean, this is what we're talking about when we say that the police department's job is not necessarily to uphold the interests of the people. They actually uphold the interests of others. And it's usually the 1% in private property. That's different than what you as an individual might want to do and might have in your heart. But as an institution, we've seen over and over again that you are placed to represent the 1%, which is why Wall Street people haven't been arrested for the fact that they brought this economy down. Instead, what you guys do is stop and frisk Black and Latino kids in the city. I want you guys to stop and frisk Wall Street because they're responsible for devastating the lives of hundreds of thousands of people around the world. But you won't stop and frisk them. You won't interrogate them about their crimes, which are a lot bigger than any crime that a small peddler in the street might be involved in, who's actually involved in criminal activity. Why? Because of poverty.
I have a proposal. Put the camera on me.
Okay.
Seriously, having heard what you said, what I propose that we propose to you is that
I think we need to recruit him to like investigating the police for us so that we can free Mumia.
along that direction. My proposal is that we show him videos of our conference, and they presented much better than us. They have the actual people, the participants, the witnesses who say they did this to me and they made me perjure myself and I'm ashamed. And now with the mayor we got and the police we got, if we can win the New York police to our side, maybe you can save the Pennsylvania, the Philadelphia police.
The idea of educating.
How about we just finish reading the letter?
He wants to focus us.
And by the way,
we read and then we can walk out so they can do their business and then we can walk
The
outside.
idea is for the police to see that video.
Waiting for a response.
I think his suggestion is very, very good. But just to keep you updated on what we're doing, I just sent the note upstairs, and the note says, when can we meet with you? He says they'll probably call us. I left Johanna's and my cell phone numbers, so we're waiting for a response.
But we're not going to, you don't think you get the response in the next 5 minutes? I don't think so.
They said that they might, right?
I'm an optimist.
Well, I know I have work to do. I can't stand here. I won't be able to stand here.
We have a lot of work to do too.
I know, so why don't we just go, when they call you, you come back and you get your appointment.
You know what? I think what we're doing today is very, very important. And I think speaking to you is important. I think
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
But this is a place of business. We can't stand here while they're doing business.
They haven't complained.
I know they
They've been very nice.
haven't complained. I get that. But after a while, they're going to complain.
So let's wait. Let's wait. Maybe
Let's
by that time we'll
finish
get
reading
our
the
time. Let's
Okay.
finish. We have so
Okay,
many.
read the letter.
We have so,
The late John Payton, former president of the Legal Defense Fund, clarified what is at stake in the Abu-Jamal case.
This is a really important quote.
His words also provide perspective on the controversy over Adegibile's nomination. In a press release explaining why LDF took the case, Payton noted that, quote, Mumia's conviction and death sentence are relics of a time and place that are notorious for police abuse and racial discrimination. Unless and until the courts acknowledge and correct these historic injustices, death sentences like Mr. Abu-Jamal's will invite continued skepticism on the criminal justice system by the African American community, unquote. Because almost all the jurors that heard Abu-Jamal's case were white, they believed the testimony of the police. A jury of Abu-Jamal's peers would have known better. In 1979, the Department of Justice filed an unprecedented lawsuit against Philadelphia's mayor and 21 top city and police officials. Its conclusions that the police department's behavior, which included shooting nonviolent suspects, abusing handcuffed prisoners, and tampering with evidence, quote, shocks the conscience, unquote. The officers who arrested and later brutalized Abu-Jamal came from the 6th District, which was under yet another federal investigation for police corruption by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Philadelphia with the approval of the U.S. Department of Justice under Ronald Reagan. As a result, over 1/3 of the 35 officers involved in Abu-Jamal's case, including the top officer at the crime scene, Inspector Alfonso Giordano, were subsequently convicted of rank corruption, extortion, and tampering with evidence to obtain convictions.
known for its corruption and brutality, the Philadelphia Police Department remains one of the most notorious police forces in the nation. The unethical campaign of lies and hysteria launched by the Fraternal Order of Police and its allies against Mr. Adegbile is a desperate attempt to bury the possibility of any future investigation of police brutality and corruption in Philadelphia. That's what they're afraid of. At issue is that the movement to free Mumia Abu-Jamal has called for a civil rights investigation of this case for almost 20 years. Most recently, it launched a 1 million signature petition campaign to the Department of Justice outlining police corruption in the case of Mumia Abu-Jamal and calling for his release. Do you guys know about Philadelphia Police Department.
We're almost done. Adegbale's appointment has the potential to put wind in the sails of the international movement that stopped the state from executing Abu-Jamal in 1995. Do you know that? That an international movement actually stopped the state from executing Mumia in 1995, August 14th?
There were 2 execution dates. Three, actually. There were 3 execution dates, and we got them to stop.
Because we had a movement in the streets that was international. That was different from the tragedy of Troy Davis, in which the state succeeded at executing him, even though all kinds of different people, including prison officials, disagreed with his execution. You remember the execution of Troy Davis. It was a tragic thing that really exposed the problems with our system. Adegbale's appointment presents the possibility of a more serious review of the case than we have seen to date because of his roots and racial justice litigation. In racial justice litigation, such a review of Abu-Jamal's case strikes fear in the Philadelphia Police Department because it could ignite a firestorm of pressure for a thorough investigation of its brutal police force, which has been under fire in the last 5 years for a number of heinous acts. This is the kicker. You must have heard about this. The most recent involves the violent rupturing of the testicles of a 16-year-old boy, Darren Manning, during a stop and frisk in Philadelphia.
That happened a few weeks ago.
You heard about that?
No.
Hey,
this is the last
take it away.
paragraph.
Take
the last
it away.
Paragraph. Read it with a deep,
This
dramatic
gentleman
voice.
was part of the Air Force of the United States.
That is correct. At stake in the controversy over Adegbile's nomination are the compelling claims of innocence in the case of Mumia Abu-Jamal, one riddled with gross violations and police and prosecutorial misconduct. Because the case is world-renowned, any investigation will create a political crisis for the Philadelphia Police Department and a crisis of legitimacy for a long line of politicians, from former Homeland Security Chief Tom Ridge to the first black district attorney of Philadelphia, Seth Williams, all of whom ran on a political platform that blindly called for Abu-Jamal's execution in their bids for public office. Signed, Dr. Johanna Fernandez and Dr. Suzanne Ross.
I just want to say to everybody, to thank everybody for coming, and to say that we consider, we're going to stay a little while and see if they bring a note back. But every little time, every little action we do is part of the whole. And every time we stand up to the injustice of this kind of bullshit that they put out, or any kind of bullshit that we need to oppose, it is part of the struggle, and we continue. That's how we've survived for 32 years, by never missing a step. This movement has been in existence for 32 years. We've managed to get Mumia Abu-Jamal twice, keep him from executing, and finally altogether get off death row. And now we're determined to free him and free many other people. So we do this very seriously because each of these things is a part of the larger picture. And people say, why do you come out in this freezing weather and do this? Because we educate you, because we get a message to the Wall Street Journal that they can't just put out that kind of garbage, and that's how we will eventually win.
Very good.
So thank you very much for listening. I hope you found it interesting.
Well, can I say a few things?
Yeah.
I think that the importance of today and every time we come out is that
You might have a new member.
the reason why our society is the way it is because there is a very small number of people who have control over the ideas that are dominant in American society. And those ideas are what keeps the system intact and afloat. What are those ideas? It's the idea that ordinary people are stupid, and we can be fooled, and we can't actually run or exercise democracy in society. That the people on top of society are the ones who know best. What else are these ideas? There has been a whole campaign of law and order and crime that's responsible for essentially the incarceration of so many people. Disproportionately black, disproportionately Latino, but disproportionately poor. a growing number of poor whites now find themselves in prison for nothing other that they couldn't afford a decent attorney, or that they were framed by the authorities, the courts and the cops. But how was this country able to mass incarcerate so many people? Through these ideas that everyone in the streets is a criminal, right? But really, what we are here to say is that the people involved in criminal activity at the bottom of society, which is a minority of people, they're trying to survive. The real criminals in this society are the people on top of society who essentially have divided society up such that they have full economic control of the world, and the rest of us are left with a pittance to live. So part of what we're really trying to do is take back our society by influencing the public debate, and that's why this is so important. That's why it's so important that we're here, because we have to start somewhere.
And the Wall Street Journal definitely made it clear today that they want never to hear from any of us. I mean, look at the message. I'm waiting let me see if they sent back a message. Let me see.
Brother.
I have to get going.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
God bless.
Well, we
You should give us your info. I was dropping off the package.
Okay, tell them the website.
Mumia Abu-Jamal?
Do you have the website? Give them the website. What's the website? freemumia.com.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Sir?
And these are the websites you can go to find information about what we're doing.
Gotcha. Do you know if they
You ladies keep going.
Do you have a business card?
No, I don't. I didn't bring it out time. Sorry, I forgot.
The Lord is watching.
Well, what do you got to send your videos to?
Excuse me?
You want a copy of this?
I don't need a copy. That's fine.
Would you like the
Did you get my
YouTube
good side
address?
or my bad side?
Would you like the YouTube
Yeah,
address?
I write down the address.
Well, you
Okay.
can be in touch. Well, you can definitely be in
But
touch.
seriously, the videos are so strong that, like, if the mayor ordered them shown or Bratton in all the police houses, it's hard to have a comeback.
All right. Hello.
You arranging to give them the stuff?
Well, I was thinking that the mayor could, when Bratton could order the videos played in the police
Bratton,
houses.
the mayor's more likely. K-A-L-I-F. Khalif. And what's your phone number?
622.
Oh, you live in the Bronx?
No.
Brooklyn?
What's your number, brother, again? And these are places where you can get information about the case. These are two very important websites that you should learn about Mumia Abu-Jamal. He is responsible for fighting for our rights in the 1960s and 70s. He was a former Black Panther who was essentially followed by the FBI and framed for killing a police officer, and we believe he's innocent. He's been in prison for 32 years. And the Wall Street Journal just wrote a terrible article about him, and this is a response. This is our response, because there's an international movement that's gathered in his defense. And we're trying to free him, but we're also trying to end the incarceration of so many Black women and women in this country. Thank you. Sir, I'd love to send you a film I made on the case.
Okay.
Let me give you this. You want this?
I actually, yeah.
Is this what you wrote on?
Do we have another one? No, that's the last one. And are you taking that?
I'll give you my email address. You can send me the copy of life if you want.
Okay. And she wants to send you a film. And he wants to send you a whole batch of stuff.
Yeah, you don't send me this one.
No.
I don't look good in this one.
Right, okay.
No, that is.
But I'll send you, I will need a mailing address.
Michael? Dugan. At NYPD.org.
Actually,
You
maybe
don't
you
want
can
that to
help
go
me,
out
because
on
I'm trying to
YouTube?
get some documents from the NYPD on the 60s for my project that I'm writing on. But you
On
guys
the
won't
60s?
release anything.
I wouldn't be able to.
You're too young.
Yeah.
I know, but no, but I mean, you guys have all the records, so maybe you have an in with people inside, and you can tell them that, you give me a good review. And say, yeah, you should release the records to this one. She's a professor. Okay, so Michael Dugan at
Michael
dot Dugan. And but what about an address?
NYPD.org. 306. It's the precinct number. 306 West 54th Street. 10019. Put it, attention, Mike Dugan.
To Michael Dugan, 306 West 54th Street, New York, 10019. Will you watch it?
Yes, I'll watch it.
So we have high aspirations, honest, I do, that someone inside of the police department with a heart and conscience will help break the story of how this person was framed from inside in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's just Philadelphia. This is New York.
I know, but sometimes it requires someone from outside of the city who sees things more clearly to actually make an intervention.
You and a few colleagues could make a call to like-minded. Don't you think, say if a few officers from New York said, we've been hearing a lot about this case, we're making a call to open-minded...
Our brother officers.
Open-minded officers in Philadelphia to agree to an investigation, to push for an investigation.
Yeah, sure.
That would be a really good thing.
The problem...
That's a legacy that you could leave that would have a lasting effect. And if you could get a few other people, I'm sure there's some other decent police officers who know that this is wrong, that there's a lot of stuff. There are police officers for years who've spoken up about corruption, about murders, about all kinds of things. So that's what we need. We need people to stand up.
And in fact, you should know that the film I'm sending you has testimonies of police officers, at least one, who says there's this huge controversy around this case in Philadelphia and around the world, and everybody knows about it. Why not investigate? Why not deal with this issue? Because if Mumia is guilty, it'll come out, and then we'll shut everybody up. But there's no give at all on the part of the establishment.
You believe he's innocent?
I believe he's innocent. Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
You know, we know him. You know, this is not a man. We know him. We know him personally.
How do you know him? You met him?
We visit him. Yeah.
Okay.
We visit him, so we know him. We know the kind of person he is. We know the kind of relationship he has with his wife, with his children, how he treats the other prisoners in prison, how much they look up to him, how much he teaches people all the time. We've read his books. He's published 7 books from death row. Published, translated in mainland. I mean, this guy is brilliant. He's a humanitarian. They wanted to shut him up because he was exposing what the police was doing in Philadelphia. And the police was hooked up with the mayor and the governor. I mean, it's a whole, and they all wanted to shut him up. First chance they had, they didn't. They haven't been able to shut him up, but they've tried. They've tried to kill him. They've tried to shut him up. They haven't succeeded so far either.
Well,
so that's taken a lot of work on the part of tens of thousands of people around the world. Really. I mean, to get one little thing, you know, he should be out, but to keep him alive has taken this much.
Right.
So, you know, you can be part of that.
You know,
those lives are lives worth living.
What's incredible about what's going on today is that the lies that are being put out by people like Toomey and Seth Williams and the Wall Street Journal invert reality. They paint him out to be this monster. But I have my students actually talk to Mumia via speakerphone from prison, and what all of my students say, black, white, Asian, from all walks of life, is that they are shocked that this man is so gentle when everything in the media that comes that is published by the Fraternal Order of Police and politicians paint him out to be this monster. They're like, how is this possible that we thought that he was going to be this unreasonable, crazy man, when in fact, the reality of his, of the way he speaks, how he approaches things. He's a gentle soul who was a radio reporter for the better part of his youth. And the image that most people have, because of the Wall Street Journal, because the Wall Street Journal has the power to influence millions of people around the world, is that this man is crazy. And the thing is that this is happening not just with Mumia. This is happening with all of the issues that concern us. That they say one thing, but in fact, the truth is quite different.